these words have in common? They were all in one of Norway's most popular TV series ever, Skam, and are examples of digital language. In this presentation, we will take on the pros and cons of using digital language. It can be very efficient to use, but it can also create communication noise. We will also talk about how it affects the way we speak. We define digital language as words and expressions that comes from digital communication, mainly written communication, to communicate more effectively. Many of these words are acronyms such as LOL, which means laughing out loud, and BTW, meaning by the way, while other words such as selfie has become an independent term. The digital language has evolved in line with the internet from the mid-90s, where emails, chat and text messages began to use shortcomings to express themselves more precisely and not least more effectively. Instead of writing whole words like U and R, you just write the letters U and R. Since the 90s, written digital communication has become so popular that today we send over 18 billion text messages worldwide every day. And many young people prefer to send text messages instead of using phone calls. Digital language is reserved for informal use, such as communication with friends, and it would not be appropriate to write LOL, it would be awesome to work with you in a job application. Appropriate context may be a pitfall in the use of digital language, but there are several significant advantages of using these words and terms. Frida will talk more about that.
A very big advantage of using a digital language is effectiveness. For example, it takes less time to write "You are my BFF for real, Ilu" than to write "You are my best friend forever for real, I love you." This is an advantage because we get many messages on all possible platforms. For example, I've sent 220,000 snaps over the last few years. And then it goes without saying that I don't have time to write full words to everyone. Another reason is that multiple platforms like Twitter and Snapchat have limited numbers of characters. Then it's about making the most of the space you've got. Another benefit is that several of the terms are very precise descriptions. Then it would been much more comprehensive if these terms did not exist. An example of that is the word FOMO, which stands for fear of missing out, which again describes the feeling of being left outside. A third advantage of digital language is that it builds a feeling of unity between people who use it. Using words like LOL, BFF and DES shows that you belong to a social group who use this in their daily language. The sense of togetherness can be enhanced by the fact that not everyone is aware of the expressions. It can, for example, distance youth from the parent generation who aren't big on using LOL. This also emphasizes the importance of person-centered communication. To be understood, you must customize your language to the receiver. For example, I can't ask my mom to buy PM when I'm going home to Sandefjord. I need to write Pepsi Max to make sure that the soda is in the fridge when I get home.
Like Frida says, digital language can absolutely make communication easier, but it can also be a hinder for good communication. There are several reasons for that. One of the main arguments is that the meaning of the communication can disappear unless the receiver is familiar with the words or terms being used. Say that I write SUP to you. For you to understand the message and be able to answer correctly requires you knowing that SUP is a rewriting or shortening of the words "what's up." Digital language is arbitrary and ambiguous, which means that it isn't obvious what words like BRB or ASAP or GF means. I know that BRB means "be right back," while you might think that BRB means "big raw burger." An example of how wrong this can go is the mother who texted her son writing, "Your aunt is dead, LOL," thinking LOL meant lots of love instead of laughing out loud. For you to get an understanding of how many people who doesn't understand words like LOL or BRB, all you have to do is Google them. Google quickly presents you with search options like LOL meaning or LOL is short for, which means that you are not the first person who have scratched your head wondering what these words mean. Another element that can make digital language difficult is the lack of non-verbal communication. Non-verbal communication includes symbols that aren't words, such as facial expression, posture, or tone of voice, which give a language nuance. The absence of non-verbal communication in digital communication itself can make it hard to grasp the correct meaning. So, when an extra barrier is added in form of digital language, it can be extra hard to understand what the messenger is saying. The reason for that is that elements like facial expression or tone of voice can signalize feelings like irony, anger, or a joking tone, which means that a sentence like LOL, that's awesome, can have several different meanings.
The word LOL is, by the way, a good example of digital language that has sneaked into our everyday speech. In addition, we find words like YOLO and selfie that has become so popular that they have found their way from the keyboard to our daily language. The word selfie was named the word of the year in 2013 by the Oxford Dictionaries, which says something about how popular the word has become.
As you have heard in this presentation, there are both pros and cons of using digital language. Words like SOP and LOL can absolutely make it more effective to communicate, but it can also be a hinder to understanding the correct meaning. Either way, as we don't see Facebook or email or text messages going anyway any day soon, digital language is here to stay.
The most important thing for you and me is to practice person-centered communication to make sure that the receiver understands what we're trying to say. Either it's PM or Pepsi Max.